Hi there, I'm back, and I just wanted to do a side-by-side demo of my two Oster blenders. The red one, as you know, is the dual action blender, and then this one is my Oster Pro 1200. And the demo I want to do today is something very different. I'm going to do something dry. I want to grind hard white wheat berries into flour. And first of all, in this test, I want to see if either of them can actually get it to a flour consistency. And I know one will probably go faster than the other just because it is higher wattage. So presumably that would be the Pro 1200. But you never know. I mean, because they have two completely different blade designs, and this one is smaller at the base. So I'm thinking maybe the wheat berries will stay down there in the blades, but you never know. So let's try this and see how it goes. I'm going to put 1 cup of these hard white wheat berries in each blender. And I'm using my favorite brand for all kinds of grains and flours. My baking flours are all kinds of cooking flours, and even their oatmeals and cooked cereals too are fantastic. So this is Bob's Red Mill organic hard white wheat berries. And I found them in my local grocery store in the natural food section. So, all right, now we're going to put a cup in the dual action. I'm just going to set this aside because I don't want it to, take a header and spill all over with the vibration of the blender. So let's put the lids on. Pardon my arm in the way here. Okay, and we're going to turn each of them on. And I am going to hit it on the high because obviously we need to get these going. So this is going to be very loud, so I do apologize ahead of time. All right, so that was about maybe a minute. Maybe I apologize, I wasn't keeping real close track. Interesting, this one really seemed to be getting a lot of action. This one, everything stayed in the bottom, so it was the opposite of what I thought. This one also, I don't know if you noticed it, you might not because you can't see the top, but a lot of the flour was kind of shooting right out the little airspace in the lid. It's not a lot, but it had an interesting plume going on. So let's take a look here. All right, so here's the dual action blender, how that's going so far. You can see there's still quite a bit of chunkiness going on, but it's very consistent. I mean, there isn't, a flour at the bottom and then great big wheat berries on top. It's pretty consistent. So I think, yeah, we'll just let that continue. And now let's take a quick peek at the Pro 1200. Ooh, dusty. Okay. Stir this up just a little bit here first. Okay, this is interesting. This looks very, very similar. I mean, it's identical in the size of the pieces in there. We have a very sunny day out today, so I apologize for the shadows here. It's really bright coming in the kitchen window. But take advantage of a natural spotlight when you can. All right, so let's let these go for like another minute and see how it goes. All right, ready and. Okay, so that was for about another minute. All right, let's see here. Well, it's definitely getting more like flour. Definitely, it's getting much finer. So this is another possibility, another thing you can use your blender for. I do want to just put this suggestion out there if you decide you want to do this on a regular basis. Well, two things actually. While you're in the middle of this, and do kind of do it in increments like this, because this isn't a high-powered blender like a Vitamix or Blendtec, so you don't want to get your motor overheated. So check the back, kind of put your hand back there occasionally to make sure it's not getting really, really warm or hot. And then when you stop it, the gear assembly connection is here, and just touch it. Now mine is pretty warm. It's getting hot, but it's not too hot to touch. So that's another indication you just want to kind of let it rest and cool down a little bit, just to kind of give your blender a break. All right, let's take a look at this one. I do have another suggestion too, and it's what I'm going to do. I don't know that I'm going to make my own whole grain flours on a regular basis, just because I do a lot of baking, and I would need an actual grain mill if I were going to do that all the time. But for something really fresh or a special occasion, and you're going to make a really nice loaf of bread for someone, or for some, like I said, a special occasion or whatever, and you really, really want it fresh and want to impress them, this would be kind of cool. I've always been grinding my own oats into oat flour, but that's pretty simple. You can even do that in a coffee grinder because it's so soft. Now, interestingly enough, now after the second minute, this one is finer than the dual action. I don't know if you can see that. I'll see if I can bring that up a little closer for you. But it's getting there. Right now, this is almost, because I use a lot of whole wheat flour because I bake a lot of my own bread. And this is almost the same consistency as the whole wheat flour that I usually buy. The other suggestion I wanted to make, and I don't want to forget to bring this up, is if you want to do this on a regular basis in your blender, and it's one of these smaller ones, this is just my personal preference, but I would get whatever, depending what blender you have. I have another blade assembly for this one too, but it's down in the basement and I forgot to bring it up. If you want to grind things really hard like this on a regular basis, and oat groats, corn kernels into cornmeal, that sort of thing, these are very hard and very tough on not just the motor, but the blades. The more often you grind these hard, dry things where you don't have, remember, blenders usually depend on liquid to help it get a vortex going to blend everything efficiently. When you're doing dry things, it's very hard on the blade. It's going to dull those sharp edges pretty quickly. So what I would do is get a second blade assembly, and maybe not on the top because that'll touch the food, but on the bottom, mark it dry, or put something on here with a Sharpie so that you know which is which. And that way, when you go to make smoothies with a lot of frozen ingredients, you're not going to be like, oh, everything's chunky. Why isn't it breaking it up? Well, that's because the blades got really dull from grinding wheat berries or corn or something like that. So that's my suggestion for that. I'm going to keep going on these and see how fine I can get them. In the meantime, I hope this was helpful to you. Oh gosh, what a flowery mess. I don't know how much you can see that in the bright sunlight, but it really sort of went everywhere. The other thing is you can really only do like a cup at a time. I wouldn't tax this and try to fill the blender even halfway or more and then try to grind it. First of all, it's really going to be hard on your motor. And second of all, it's going to be very inconsistent because the stuff on top is going to have a hard time sifting down to the bottom to get at the blades. Again, because it's a dry mixture and your blender is designed to use a liquid of some kind to draw the food down into the blades. So if you're going to do this sort of thing, do it in small batches, get a second blade assembly, just so that you've got a nice sharp one for all the wet things that you do more frequently with it. And I hope this is helpful to you. I know everybody loves these side-by-side demos. And this one was a little more difficult for me because I don't have a lot of wall sockets in my kitchen. I have a very old house that's turned 60 years old this year, and I only have 2 outlets, and these cords are kind of short, so I'm about as far out to the edge of the counter as I can get here. So anyway, again, I do hope this is helpful to those of you that are interested in either of these blenders or want to see the side-by-side to see how they perform. They're very similar in the dry. I think if I keep this one going, I will get it as fine as that. And then I'm going to use this flour in my next batch of bread when I bake in a few days out. So have a great day. Remember, give me a thumbs up if you like my videos. And if I don't see you or hear or put up another video before Thursday, those of you in the States have a great, happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.